All righty, folks. It is Fed week, and one of the things I love to do is talk to the folks in the mortgage business about what they see coming, what might be the press conference, what happens to interest rates, investors, buyers, sellers, and all of that good stuff. We're going to talk with Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, despite the volatility in mortgage and buyer sentiment. I'm still still showing up to this office every day, buddy.
Yeah, again, I do feel for the mortgage industry, real estate industry. Again, I've unfortunately called 2025 to be a tough year, but you know what? Good news. It's already May. We're damn near halfway over with the year, which is one way to look at it. So the glass is half full. But we do have Fed Day this week. It's on Wednesday. We're recording this on Monday. What are your kind of expectations going into it?
As is the case when there's an overwhelming majority with predictions that it's going to go one way or another. In this case, no move, right? I'm going to probably log in, have Jerome Powell speaking in the background, and just look at mortgage-backed securities and how they move, because people on this channel have heard me say this many times, heard you say it many times. It's more about what Jerome Powell says this week than it is about what they do, because we already know what they're going to do, and that's nothing. And so Wednesday press conference, we'll all be tuned in. What is he going to say about, what the Fed's plans are in the future? And then on Friday, I think it's 9 Fed speakers that are going to speak. And so this week, I think, is less about the meeting and more about what everybody says. So we'll be tuned into that stuff and see what happens. The more I talk about it and the more I think about how it affects the people that I work with every single day, the consumer and real estate agents that serve the consumer, the more volatility is not fun. And when there's already uncertainty, having whipsaw in mortgage rates and having, those be unknown and changing as often as they do nowadays, it's just not something I'm rooting for. So I'm just hoping for some calm here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think you've nailed it, right? I think this Fed rate decision's a nothing burger. They're not going to do anything. And it is all about the press conference. When I think about the press conference, I see a couple of things that I'm going to be keyed on. One, is he still over-rotated to data dependency? Is he almost purposefully trying to take June and July rate cuts off the table? Folks, I don't know if you've seen this, but the Fed Watch tool went from last Thursday pricing in a June rate cut, something like 65%, to now 20% or 25%. So given the strong jobs number from Friday, we have lowered the chances of 4 rate cuts to 3, and we've delayed rate cuts from June to July. I'm going to be curious to see if Powell leans into that, or he might take this as an opportunity to say, we do see signs of the soft data growing, right? Hard data is still positive, but we're more concerned. It'll be really interesting to me because I could see it going both ways. He purposely tries to talk June and July down, or he's like, you know what? We might have to do something.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see because, I had an interesting conversation earlier. The Thursday and Friday numbers of last week that hurt mortgage interest rates was that manufacturing data, which was a big beat. And then jobs numbers, another big beat, like 36% higher than expected. I think it was 177 versus the 130 expected. The crazy part to me, and I'll say it out loud, it's almost always revised. And so you get 177 versus 130. The market reacts, mortgage rates get worse. And then you can almost bet that gets revised to 140 or 150. And it's like, why are mortgage-backed securities responding when this is a number that gets posted and then revised every single time? Like, it's not like 1 out of 10 is getting revised. Like every single time it gets revised. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'll never understand it completely, but it's just funky
it's
to
going to
look
be.
at.
It's going to be really interesting to watch because Redfin put out some material. I think it was over the weekend, might have been on Friday, talking about inventory is spiking, but it's not because supply is really growing all that much. Supply is kind of on trend. It's demand that's crashing,
Yeah.
right? And when you see demand crash like this, and that's just buyers pulling back, uncertainty, it'll be interesting to see why, right? Because when you think about demand pulling back, it could have been negative wealth effect, right? A lot of tech companies and the like saw stocks down. They are now up or even in many cases. So it'll be interesting if that comes back. Number two, it could be tariffs just driving uncertainty and inflation expectations. Like inflation expectations are over 5% now. So again, that's a problem. Or is this the threat of this looming recession, right? We got government spending down. We got private enterprise down. We now have consumers pulling back. I don't know how you don't have a recession in that environment. It'll just be interesting to see if history repeats itself. What do I mean by that? Over the last couple of years, we have learned that a 6% mortgage rate brings demand off the sidelines. 7% mortgage rates locks up the market. I think today we're sitting at like 6.5 or 6.6, something like that. And it'll be very interesting over the next month or two. If we drift down to 6, what happens? Does 6 trigger demand, or is uncertainty so high that 6 doesn't even unlock it? That's what I'll be watching.
I think it does. You know what I was thinking about, Mike? Like this inventory build, which you and I know, and they'll say it, is more of a cause of people not buying. Stuff is
Correct.
sitting on the market. And once you get 15, 30, 45 days, like that, just inventory builds because the stuff hasn't sold as fast as normal. It feels so much like it felt in the 7.5, 7.75 interest rate. You know, I don't remember exactly, Q4 of 23 and one other time, like when mortgage rates went above 7.5, people just backed off. And now the funny part is it's like, that's a Q4, a season where not a lot of people are excited to buy. And then you tack on high interest rates. You understand why people are backing off. But now it's like, this is the spring. Yeah. This is the spring, and we're not at 7.75. We're at 6.75, but we're seeing the same type of pullback. And like you said, it's all kind of uncertainty. People don't know what's going on with, tariffs and the economy and maybe their jobs. And so we're seeing the similar things, in my opinion, with inventory in the market, but for a different reason. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
And it's going to be really interesting for me to watch, because the spring selling season really for most people is over in June-ish. Maybe it sneaks into July, but not in many places. It'll be interesting to me if we see, normal seasonal demand in the winter, or we see an uptick because of the seasonal slowdown, right? It'll be interesting to watch. Do we just skip 2025 and we write it off and we come back next spring? Or does the winter see a seasonal uptick? Especially again, dude, if we get like a 5.99 in October, what happens then? It'll be interesting.
That's what I was going to say. That's, in my opinion, because there is some sideline demand and some wait and see demand that these people want to buy, and they're kind of on the fence. I think the determining factor will be rates. If you go sub 6%, a lot of these people get off and you're like, wow, this is a busy fourth quarter. Or we stay high, we stay above 6.5%, and those people just continue to, wait and see, and some of them buy, but not a lot of them. So I think that's probably what happens with some of this pent up demand, because I have it, pre-approved buyers on the sidelines. I know a lot of colleagues I work with have buyers they've been talking to, buyers that they know are kind of hemming and hawing, and potential or future buyers, but just not right now.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think you termed this last week or the week before the season of wait. Is that still kind of where we're at?
Yeah. I still see quite a few people, and it's interesting too, because we're checking in, we're seeing how we can provide value or education to all the people that come across us. And I got a couple messages this weekend, and I thought to myself, that's the exact sentiment, right? A buyer who's very well qualified, has a large down payment, knows where they want to live. All the boxes are checked for this person is an active home buyer. Basically said, we're not in any hurry. There's not a lot of stuff that's really perfect. And to be quite honest, we're a little bit uncertain about the market. And so we're going to wait and see. And so it'll be interesting, for some people, this is opportunity. When others are fearful, you be greedy. That's what Warren Buffett says. And so, it'd be interesting to see how it shakes out. Whatever the case, it's a weird market. And every open house I walk through and every agent I talk to, when they can't find a word to describe what's going on, they've got a listing that's priced right and it doesn't sell. Something else that they think is going to be on the market for 90 days sells within 4. They just throw up their hands and go, this market's weird.
There you go. Well, somebody want to get something started or talk mortgage, what are we doing?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. No purchase necessary. You don't commit to anything. Pre-approval free. You want to know. You want to get your questions answered. And it's relatively little buy-in from the consumer, right? Whether it's with us or whether it's anybody else, you can do a fairly solid pre-approval with just a soft credit pull. And so I know it takes 7 minutes to fill out a loan application. It might take you 15 minutes to pull up an old W-2, but do that so you know where you're at, even if the plan is most likely to wait 6, 9, 12 months. Have an idea, get the answers from a professional, because some of you are going to get an answer that says, oh, I need to do something in the next 6 months to better prepare myself. I didn't realize that because of debt load, my credit score is 667. And if you can get some advice that saves you 0.25% on a mortgage that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you just, with that 22 minutes you spent, saved yourself tens of thousands of dollars. So greatmortgagebroker.com.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Talk next week.
Thanks, Mike.